So welcome everybody to our meeting in August. This is last day of August. Very nice weather here in Perth. And we've got more people coming to our meeting, which is great. Please join in. We've got new logo for our user group. It was used first time. I hope you like it. It was my photo. Let's just move on to agenda. So what is our first thing here? So our first presenter is Sebastian Storey with the latest news from Qlik, and it changed a little bit in the last moment. But over to you, Sebastian.
Yeah, sure. I'll just share my screen.
Yeah, I'll stop presenting. It's coming up.
Coming up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, we can see it.
All right. So yeah, look, what I wanted to share with you today, usually we spend this time to go through the technology updates and get somebody from our technical team in to share a bit about what's the latest news. But really the biggest news for Qlik, probably in the last 5 years or so, has been our acquisition of Talend. So Talend is a specialist in data integration, and they're a company almost the same size as Qlik has been. So obviously we're a much larger organization now. And when I say an acquisition, it's really almost like a merger because it's two companies of a similar size coming together. So it's really a very big change for us. I'm also wanting to introduce our new National Sales Director, Ben Garreau, who will join us in a moment and share a little bit of an overview of Talend as well, just so that you get a sense of what's coming.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Sorry, I was just getting to the next screen. So firstly, what are we getting with Talend? So Talend as an organization, one of the reasons that we acquired Talend is that it aligns to the same guiding principles that Qlik has. So as a company, Qlik is a SaaS-first company, and you've probably seen that through the previous user group sessions that most of the new development from Qlik is SaaS first. And if you're on the SaaS platform, you tend to get access to the latest and greatest a little bit earlier than what you would through on-premise. So Talend is also aligned to those sort of principles. Also the data principle. So where Qlik respects the customer's data location, Talend is actually based out of the same cloud data center that Qlik is, out of the Infomix data center with AWS underpinning that infrastructure, but also has optionality for being able to be hybrid, cloud, on-premise. So you really have the choice. But again, we are a SaaS-first company. And also the customer principle. So we're very, just like we are, Talend has been very aligned to take care of its customers. And that also includes that they operate on an open architecture, just like Qlik does, which means that you have the optionality to work with lots of different other vendor technologies seamlessly, just like Qlik. So with that, it made a lot of sense for the acquisition for Qlik. A little bit about the roadmap as well. Where we are, so this is the roadmap that's been shared from our executives so far. We'll have more around the roadmap to share from a product perspective later on, but just in terms of the acquisition, what does that look like for us? So we've just come together as one company. So as part of that, Ben will introduce himself in a moment, but as part of that, we have a lot of new people in our office, which is fantastic. From a customer perspective, that means more people to work with you. We've got more account managers, more technical pre-sales, more consultants, more people in our support organization, and a larger partner ecosystem as well. So more partners to work with as well. And our customer community is also bigger too. So I know you're always very focused in the Perth area and the WA area, but just to share with you some of the customers that are now Qlik customers through the Talent acquisition that are extensively using Talent are the WA Water Corp, WA Health, Stirling City Council, and the Uni of Notre Dame. So a lot in the government space in particular, but also some non-government accounts too. So just to give you a sense, hopefully what that means is it will give us an opportunity as well to build out this user group community, because we've got a lot more customer reach within the WA area as well. So where are we? Well, I think we've just come together as one company now. So I guess you could say we're just past the first bubble on this page. Next is that we're working on coming together under one package. So defined by use case and capacity. Most of the license metrics that Qlik is working with now is based around capacity licensing, particularly in the cloud. And the expectation is that Talent, as a product set under the Qlik umbrella, is going to align to that as well. Following on from that, we're looking at having access of Talent from the Qlik cloud, and then ultimately next year coming together as one platform. So building out a lot more integrations between the product sets as well. So that's just to give you a bit of a sense of where we are and how we're coming together as an organization, because it really is quite a big change. Now I would like to introduce you to our new National Sales Director, Ben Guiraud. Ben comes to us from Talent, so he's got a lot of history with Talent, a French guy. Don't hold that against him, but Talent actually is a French company, so that's very good too. Ben, I'll pass over to you and let you introduce yourself a little bit further and share a bit more around Talent and what this means for us as an organisation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Seb. Happy to meet with all of you. Hopefully you will have good times or good time after the meeting with some beers, I believe, or some drinks. I believe for the ones who are in person in the room. So first, let me start with introducing myself. So I've got 25 years experience in this industry, pretty much software, business applications, and data analytics, data and AI. I spent 30 years at Microsoft in France, where I was heading the data analytics business, and then got moved here some years ago, still heading the data and AI business here in Australia, and then moved on and have been I joined Talent 2.5 years ago. I was the country manager for Australia and New Zealand, and very excited to be a part of to be a Qlik to be a Qlik member here, as we came together in reality like 2 months ago. So that's something which is very new for us, very new for the market. And we are now, as Seb mentioned, we've got now one team. And we want to make sure that when we engage in conversations with our customers, with our partners, we're talking in one organization. So pretty much all the teams, the products, everything is meshed to be one organization. So Seb, you might move just to the next slide. So as Seb mentioned, we are a talent integration platform, but we are more than a data integration platform. We were more, should I say now, as we are a data integration, data quality, and data governance platform. And if you have Googled any Magic Quadrants, waves, whatever analyst views in this market, Talent was and still positioned as a leader on those different quadrants: integration, quality, and governance. The reason why pretty much we are getting together is because we had the same shareholder in the past, And Thomas Bravo, is our shareholder, decided to put us together to bring a stronger and wider solution for clients. So it means that if you look specifically on those scenarios around integration, quality, and governance, I mean, I would be comfortable to say that we have the deepest solutions, deepest portfolio in the market now, having Qlik being together, Qlik and Talent. So, and not only we have a very broad portfolio, but I mean that we are an expert of that domain. And the logic is definitely to bring solutions to clients and partners with a strategy or low-code strategy, or no-code and low-code strategy. So quickest deployment, obviously you can decide to code with Talent and Qlik, but the options is very much to go easy on the deployment. So more specifically, what does it mean in terms of the broad portfolio now we are bringing to the market? So if you move to the next slide, Seb. So that's what it is. So we have a broad solution around, obviously, analytics and machine learning. So that's the Qlik portfolio, and that's where you will know Qlik very well, I guess, like for every one of you. And with Talent, we are extending the data integration and data quality capabilities of the platform. You can see on this slide, and that slide, we won't keep that slide long because as we're coming together, there's no point to highlight what is Talent, what is Qlik. But that's more like here today to help you understand the transition and what Talent brings on the table to that broad portfolio. So the logos or the domains with the pink tick is pretty much what Talent is bringing to the market here. So we're bringing ETL integrations. That's for sure. We've been doing this for 15 years, and that's where we're coming from an open source strategy, and that's where we're delivering the best. We're coming with helping business and IT working together on enhancing the data quality of the organization with solutions such as data prep and governance as well. So that's pretty much our vision. We want to help organizations and people work together and to improve the quality of the data and make sure the data is there to help drive business outcome to the teams. So you see that it's a broad portfolio we got here. So the product teams are now working towards the integration. We have a very exciting roadmap coming on. The deep integration will come in 2024 for the solutions. So we still need to be a bit more passionate to see that coming together as a solution. But already we are responding to tenders. We are positioning ourselves at one platform as we can address the broader scope. So I would stop there and then check if you have any questions, any comments to Seb and myself.
Any questions?
Are they concentrated more in cloud or enterprise as well?
The question is, are you concentrating more on the cloud or normal enterprise as well? So where this integration will happen, most likely?
When you mean normal enterprise versus cloud, you mean normal enterprise as on-prem versus cloud? What's
when those two of those products, if I understand correctly, Craig, when you integrate those Talent and Qlik, will it happen firstly in the cloud, or will it affect in on-prem solution, on-prem Qlik as well? Because currently there is Qlik Sense Enterprise, and it's kind of lacking some love. Craig calls it second cousin. So
okay. So I mean, so the strategy, as was highlighted in the first slide, the strategy is cloud first and SaaS first. So that's for sure. So that's the strategy of Qlik. That was a strategy of Talent, even though Talent, somehow where your data is based doesn't matter. It could be on-prem, it could be on cloud, it could be hybrid. We pretty much a cloud our technology agnostic platform. So I would expect coming forward, we don't have information yet from the product team, but that the first innovation will come through the SaaS solutions. That's the strategy organizations. We will hence still the on-prem solutions because we cannot ignore there's an on-prem market. It's still important in the market, but the strategy of the organization remains SaaS as a priority.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Questions? No, no questions anymore from the. There is one. Yeah, Henry.
How do you differentiate your products from other competitors? So what benefits are your products have and the others not having? Or maybe what and the other maybe a more specific question is like what your product can come to, but the other product can.
Did you hear the question?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So it's a very good but very broad questions here. So it will depend.
Yeah,
because
very
you see,
broad.
as we are, we are addressing like we addressing data integration, analytics, governance, quality. So it depends what you're looking at the platform. So the first broad answer, the first answer is like the point at versus many competitors that we can address the whole spectrum when it comes to data management, lifecycle data management within the organization. And we're coming from position where we were expert in that domain. So you got platform who approach provide a broad solution, but in reality they are generic platform, cloud generic providers. So they're not going deep in those different solutions. So that's that's very much the first things. The third element of that is that we remain flexible. So once we got that platform, we've got a modular approach. So you want dynamics only visualization tools, we're gonna still provide those solutions. You want to work like towards an integration platform or just a data platform solution and work only with these kind of scenarios, we can help you deploy those scenarios with some specific modules. So you got like pretty much the both of the words where we gonna continue to deliver a broad platform, but give you the flexibility to start small potentially and grow with having synergies when you expand with our platform. Then to be specific, it's hard to be more specific than that, because then to be more specific and relevant in that answer, we need to understand your use case and then demonstrate the power of the platform in your use case. But for the first feedback we got from the market, that's pretty much what we're hearing, and that's what we want to deliver.
Let's chat later, Henry, yeah? To define your specific case,
yes.
This case.
And what I would say next time, I understand that you've got those meetings are kind of quarterly, so next time I'm more than happy to anticipate a bit more, and we come here with with Seb or with a technical person, and we can have these offline discussions around drinks, making sure
that will be great.
We can dig a bit further in those questions.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Thank you. Any other questions from? No. All right. Thank you very much, Ben and Sebastian, for your presentation. And let's see what's next. I'll just need to share my screen now. Oop. Right. The next in our agenda is Boon Keat with can Chat GPT or large language models improve analytics? Boon, it's over to you.
Just let me quickly share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Yep, all good.
Yes. Nice.
So I'm having a bit of a headache, and I might go on mute once in a while to just have a light cough. So essentially, the upshot is, will AI change the analytics landscape? The quick answer would be yes. And so unfortunately, the genie is out of the bottle. We cannot go back to the days where there's no AI. Eventually, AI will be smarter than humans, and will we see massive job losses? So before we go into the other slides, I'll just run through a couple of demos in terms of how do we use text generation like Chat GPT or large language models, and how do we include external data so that we can also ask questions of those. And then we jump to some fun bits where we can say, create an image or a couple of images using text-to-image models. And then we go into more of a technical side to how we can take advantage of the agentic side of AI, i.e. AI acting as an agent to help you solve some issues, as an example. So if we jump over to the classic Chat GPT. So I've asked it, how recent is your data? So the training of Chat GPT is trained up to September 2021. And we all know we can ask Chat GPT to write code for us, right? Save us time and money. And then the other one is in terms of, okay, I want to look at data that Chat GPT doesn't currently have or not trained on. So what I've got here is Chat GPT 4, and I'm going to use a plugin. And the plugin that I've enabled is Ask Your PDF. So in this instance, I can go to a Tesla investor page. We all know ChatGPT's data ends on September 2021. Now we've got this year's year to 2023. I can copy that link, stick it in there. And now we just wait for ChatGPT to download that PDF, and it will then start analyzing that PDF, and it will ask a very simple question. This will give you an idea. If you have a library of documents within your business, you can potentially use either ChatGPT or any other models, whether it's external, third party, or self-hosted, to analyze your own data. Okay. I'll say this net income by what? So now ChatGPT will use that plugin or another AI, if you like, to analyze that PDF and come up with a summary of those information that's available to you. Right. So we can verify that. It even tells you that the data is in page 24, and that's the data, blah, blah, blah. I've got an example here of when the Tesla itself, page 24, and you can see Q2 2023 is 2.7 billion and 2.53687. We go back, you can see 2725, 3.687. So essentially what it's done, it's not only be able to read your PDF, but it also understand tabular format where it's linking that Q2, that net income, with that number right there. And if you can imagine that sitting on top of your database, your library of documentation, your Word document management system, as an example. Now, the next one I can show you is the text to image component of it. So this is a very simple app that you can download and run on your own machine. I've given it a little prompt that says, draw me images of cat in the style of Mona, and it gave me those. So I will just go to some of the options. So I'll say I just want one image, I'll make a smaller one. And you can see a very popular, common rather, parameter you always ask is in the AI world is temperature. Temperature means, in essence, means what sort of creativity or allowance you're allowing the AI. So because we don't stuff, I'm just giving it a bit more of a creativity. You can choose different types of models. In this point in time, we'll jump to the model side of things, and I can give it some very, very long-winded prompts, and it will generate an image for me. Now, while it's doing that, think about having an image generator where you say, draw me a chart with the following data, heat map of a company. So you can see it do that for you as an example. So that's the text to image component of the AI. Now, for the more interesting bit, it would be the agentic component of AI. Now, here I've written code, just 36 lines of code. I'm using OpenAI, and I've connected it to a database, and I'll show you the database. The database is pretty much the AdventureWorks database provided by Microsoft, and it's the light version. You can see these are all the tables available within the database. So what I've done is connect the agent to the database and letting Chat GPT, which is the large language model, understand what I'm asking it to do. With the temperature of 0, which means no creativity, you do as I say. As an example, using the GPT model 3.5 Turbo. And this is what the agent parameters are. For both, it will tell you what its trend of thought is or are. And the agent 0 shot means you don't understand the database. You need to find out a little more yourself. Query checker will fix it if there's any errors. And we will now do a quick test. So I'll ask the question, show me the top 10 customer name and sales. We'll let it run, and then we'll scroll all the way back up and we'll analyze what the AI or the agent is doing on behalf. Okay, so now if I were to scroll all the way up, so the agent saying, okay, I don't know much about the database. I will list all the tables. It's listing all the tables. And it says, okay, the relevant tables for this question are customer and sales order headers. So it understands the relevance of customer and sales order based on my question of customer names and sales amount. So know which table to go for because it's in English and the large language model is able to decipher that. Then it says, I should query the schema for this table to see what columns I can use. So it then runs and look at the create statement for those two tables. It knows what the primary keys are and what the foreign keys are. It also does a little sneak peek of the first 3 rows of the data of the table just to like bit understanding of what the data looks like. That's the same for sales order header. Same thing again. And then it says I can use those and it will create an SQL query on your behalf and run it. So now you can sort of see if we were to extend this beyond just querying the database and also in terms of what this thing can do. So I'm using the database chain here to sort of query the database. There is no stopping us from doing other things like running commands, connecting to Google, the Grab and Wikipedia and all of those things. So for the narcissistic ones among us, including myself, I can go and we'll see what happens then. Right. So it did quite literally try to run that command. And if I've given the account the appropriate permission, it will delete the table, the customer table. And if I give it the correct permission, it can also delete the entire database. So now it comes down to, should you then sit the AI on top of your production database? The answer there would be potentially a big no. So what happens if you want to say, if we go back to those again, like this top 10 here, and say, do you want to allow it to ring Catherine and say you owe us $44,000? So ding, 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 robo-debt as an example comes in. How are we going to prevent that from happening if we gave too much agency to the AI to help us solve our data issues? Should we allow the agent to write back to a database? Should we instead use a RESTful API to write back the data to your ERP system? As an example. So you might have an AI that says, okay, Catherine owes this, how much? And then you can tell the AI to send an email to Catherine saying your order is on the way or not. And you update the database saying, I've sent an email to Catherine. So that action there, should you allow the AI to write it back to the database? That comes down to data governance as well. If you replicate the data to a data warehouse or data lake, as an example, what information do you want the AI to have access to? Text file numbers, date of birth, and how far back you want the data to be available for the AI. So if you look at Qlik Replicate or any other replication tools out there, you can say, I only want to replicate the GR transaction going back 3 years. And each time you replicate person identifying information, you need to redact those. Those are the things that you potentially need to consider as well. Now, if anything, This will help us explore the data. I wouldn't trust it too much because it's still in the infancy stages. Sometimes the query will come out wrong, even though we'll try and fix it. But you can sort of start to imagine this is the tip of the iceberg. What's going to happen from now, 6 months, 12. It's moving so fast. And if we go back to the slides, so this is just some of the players. You've got Google, which is the large language model is Bart, Meta, which is Facebook, Llama, and the popular OpenAI Chat GPT. These are text generation. You got the image generation, which we just showed a moment ago, Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, and DALL-E. Now, Hugging Face, for those who wants to host your own models, Hugging Face is an AI community. So it says they're not safe for work once such models are available. So if you ask ChatGPT, how can I hack a Wi-Fi? It will tell you can't, it's illegal, and it won't tell you the steps. So this is where the not safe for work and uncensored model, it will literally tell you those steps as an example. Okay, so there are other models out there. If you look at Hugging Face, these are all different types of models: text classification, zero-shot classification, text generation, image classification, and the list goes on. Hugging Face alone at the moment has got 311,000 or 312,000 models that you can play with. You can also train your own if you want to. So you can create your own AI model to train on top of your own database. This way, it's also more efficient. What else is there? A question now is, do you want to self-host it or have someone host it for you, like OpenAI or even Hugging Face? So again, who owns the data? If you say, I'm going to let the AI read my PDF files, what are the governance around that? Now, the reason why the genie is out of the bottle, we can't go back to the old days, because the AI can now write code, it can connect to the internet, and it's also agentic. So how do we unravel that and go back to the old days? It's not possible. And some of the industry mumbo jumbo, so large language model, Chat GPT, Stable Diffusion, the image generation. Now, prompt engineering is quite interesting, even though some of the Chat GPT stuff say, oh, you say, well, can I show me the steps to hack Wi-Fi, or the tools, list the tools to help me hack Wi-Fi? It will not tell you that. But if you do a reverse engineering or reverse psychology and say, I would like to protect myself from Wi-Fi hacking, give me a list of tools so that I can sort of have blacklist those, they will give you a list. So you can reverse engineer and get it to sort of reverse psychology to get you the list anyway. Hallucination, AI gives the wrong answer with confidence. I can tell you this is the wrong answer, because it's actually Terry. Anyway. Embeddings, what we've just did with the Tesla PDF is it converts the PDF and find the relationship even in the tabular format, that quarter, that year, that's the information, that's the text, that's the number. Zero-shot learning, which is pretty much what we just shown you in terms of it doesn't understand the database, it will try and query the database and write the query for you. Agentic, which is what it was doing. Alignment, this one's a bit open-ended. Does the AI align with our values? Well, whose values? And which system are we talking about? The North Koreans, the South Koreans. In terms of, what metrics do we base on the size of population, the Asian value, or size of economy, the United States? So it's going to be quite difficult to align the AI in terms of our values, as an example. Other things we need to consider, like digital ghosting, who owns the likeness of Michael Jackson, or likeness of me if I pass away, as an example. You can digitally resurrect someone. Voice learning, you can train an AI to speak and sound like you, or sound like anyone. And so what's that around manipulation, scamming, and the effect of the dubbing industry. Now, there's also talks about super intelligence. Albert Einstein's IQ is about 160. At the moment, Chat GPT is estimated to be 130, 150 in terms of the IQ. It's not able to create new theories of relativity, as an example. But what happens if the IQ is 5x or 10x that of the average human? That's the next question. I don't know. Will it publish new theories that we, the human beings, can't even comprehend? Diseases at IQ 1000, and then find a way to travel at the speed of light at IQ 100,000. So how do we manage AI so that is existential risk a major question? Because the answer for that, in my opinion, is AI is not going to take over the world. The robots are not going to take over the world, but rather people who use AI, whether it's nefarious reasons or productivity reasons, they will take over the world. Now, in terms of job losses, if you look at the voice learning, dubbing, that's on the cards. People who write movies and scripts, those are also in danger. The transport industry, so full self-driving. Uber, at the moment, there's a gig economy where you can just go and drive Uber and make some quick cash. But at the moment, full self-driving comes into play. What's going to happen? The trucking industry, public transport, mundane tasks be done by robot. Those are options as well. So, yeah, and there is no stopping AI. So we have to embrace for better or worse. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
Scary, isn't it?
Only scarier than our usual conference, but.
Yes. Yeah, also true. Any questions?
I think it's scary, but also interesting. Someone I know, they expressed the view that Chat GPT, the way they use it, is an opinion.
Yeah.
Same as me asking Craig how to do something.
Haha.
He'll give me an answer, and I'll say, "That's right." So I think if you look at someone like Chat GPT like that, another opinion.
Yeah.
I think it can be very valuable. But it's an opinion. It's not right. It's
Yeah.
up to you to assess how right. So, but I think it's great demo. I think of the capability.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Boon. Any questions from our virtual participants?
No, I think I'm going to have some nightmares, but it's a good demo.
All right. Okay, let me. Yeah, Henry. Yes.
What's your view on ChatGPT helping data cleansing? So as I know, training the model, if you have more accurate data or more cleaning data, more rubbish data, the model will be more accurate. Will AI do that data cleansing in the future, or actually in the future, AI will just generate ideas or generate information based on the rubbish data?
So did you hear? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
in terms of data cleansing and rubbish data and all that, we potentially there's also this notion of bot training, AI training another AI, and also reinforced learning where a human being is sort of front and center to try and if the AI says something, you go, okay, this is the data, and then the human being, someone will go in there to fix up and clean up the data and teach it various ways to do it. So yes, I'm not seeing any evidence that how can you tell if something's, let's just say we measure something's 2 meters and it's supposed to be 2,000. How does the AI know? So then are we then giving it external agency to connect to a camera to look at what you're trying to measure? So again, there's still a lot of human beings.
How much do you want?
Oops.
Like, I've done enough for one day. I've got 6 other days I can do this in.
Yep.
Oops.
Right. All good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Boon. It was very interesting. So let me switch to my agenda. So who is next? Craig, it's over to you with a little bit interesting presentation, more development one. You can use it on mine.
I need to run my.
Yeah, you don't need to run. Yeah, it is all here. It's all on the screen. If you wish, I can even change it to the. I can do it in this way. Come on. Yep. Just.
Yeah. Hi, gang. Well, my talk's going to be really boring after listening to Boon's. So I should have gone first, right? This is a real problem. Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you about something that came up in some development work that we've been doing at Western Power, which I thought is interesting. Not as interesting as AI, but anyway, we'll forgive Boon. So I had an unusual reporting requirement that I want to have a mix of measures in the same table field with different number formatting. You go, okay, why on earth would you want to do that? But, you know, there you go.
Couple of examples, P&L, balance sheet, all of
Yes.
exactly.
Exactly what happens in our corporate reporting. So when I talk about, here's an example of one of our corporate reports. The numbers are not have been confused, so these are not our real numbers. So here at the top, I've got revenue. It's in millions of dollars, and this particular column is a variance number. So it's a difference between two other numbers. And it's reported as a number to one decimal place. But down here, got consumption. And that variance is reported as percentage. So in the same column, I've got a number format, which is a number to one decimal point. And in the same column, further down, I've got a percentage to one decimal point. So what we would normally do is define a master measure, give it a whatever the expression is, and then give it a number format. But that's not going to work in this case because that number format applies to the whole field. You can't make any exceptions. So how do we get around this? So in the load script, what we do is we create a table that actually contains the data that we want to display. So it's got one record per line item. We use the num function to actually apply different formatting. Now, we need, in this case, I've used a thing called wild match. Formatting's gone a bit there, as it ignores the case. And I need something in the data to be able to differentiate between these two things. So I've got consumption, which is in gigawatt hours, and revenue, which is in millions. So I'm going to search the line item text description for this character string saying, hey, gigawatt hours, that means consumption. Otherwise, revenue is going to be in millions of dollars. I then apply a format for the consumption and apply a different format for the revenue. And that's all saved off in a field in that particular table. I now revise my master measure to say, okay, I'm going to now use the only command. Right? I can't use sum because sum will aggregate that data across the whole amounts. And this is why I had to create a table where it's one line item per entry in that table. And then I select this measuring number format called measure expression. Right? So it's not a number or a decimal or anything else. It says, okay, whatever you've defined that that format to be, in the table, I'm just going to use that. Okay, so I now plonk that master measure down onto my table and turn on the use of master measure formatting. And I now get my table. It comes out with the month-to-date revenue as a number to 1 decimal place, and my consumption is a percentage. So the trick there is that I've used a table that's a one-to-one with what I'm seeing. I have to use the only command. I have to format the data in my load script using the num function, and then apply that master measure into my report with that measure expression. So the table has consistent rules for setting the background color and the measure font colors. So you might notice here that we've got these light gray background colors to represent headings and subheadings and so on. So I use parameterized variables to color code these things. The parameterized variables used to set the background color, and it's depending on what line type it is. So for example, if it's a subtotal or a grand total or just a total line, it will set that shading. Also, the color of the font. In this case, anything that's negative gets colored in red. Anything that's positive gets black. But anything that doesn't need to be there, like a header, you'll notice it's white, it's blank. Now, the reason for that is because there actually is a 0 there, but I color it white so that it magically doesn't appear. So these parameterized variables, which Sergey has mentioned to us before, I've actually started using them, and they are really, really good. Here's an example. So this parameterized variables sets the background color. It contains logic to say if the line item type, which is passed in as the $1, the first parameter, if that line item type is total, then it's going to be whatever the variable is for total. Similarly for subtotal and for grand total. Otherwise, it's white. So this is actually using other variables. So you've got variables within variables. So how I would use that, in the table itself, you've got this background color expression. I would use dollar expansion of that variable and pass in the line item type. And that becomes $1. Another example to set the font color, I actually need 2 parameters for this, the line item type and also the actual measure that you are wanting to display. So if the line item type is a header or a subheader, I'm just going to make it white. Otherwise, if the measure value is less than 0, it's red, otherwise it's black. Again, how you use that in the text color expression of my table field, I would use the name of the variable with dollar expansion and pass in the 2 parameters of the line item type and the actual budget, the value itself. All right, so why would you want to use these parameterized variables? Well, it comes down to that write once, use many. So you can define that variable, and in this particular app, I've used that same variable over and over and over again. I must have used it easily 100 times inside the one app. So if ever I want to go and change maybe the color of the text font to be, green if it's positive, I would change it in one place and it would ripple through the whole application. That reduces our app maintenance overhead substantially. One of the key issues with Qlik is that you can't search for expressions inside the front end. Or I don't know how to anyway, unless you use something like Platform Manager and you go through that way. We can hide complex expressions. So when you're looking at the front, how you putting it into the front, you can see at the bottom there that it's quite simple to understand that dollar expansion of T report line type text color, pass it in the 2 parameters, away you go. It's simple, you can understand it. But the expression itself could be really, really complicated. And I have seen others, looking at Sergey, which are really complicated. So it hides that complexity for you. Remember to add a description to document what you're doing. That's one of the advantages of having master items. And with a little training, you can actually get your end users to start using it. Maybe your more advanced end users, but when they're doing their community sheets and so on, they should be able to tap into it. It's not really such a hard concept to grasp. So a couple of tips when you're developing these complex variables. When you're first developing, I define them through the front end because I want to be able to go and change them on the fly without having to reload them. And that speeds up your development cycle.
The fact that your video is really slow and there's bad audio message, people online may not be hearing very well. So you might want to turn the video on. So
Yeah, maybe just switch the video.
so turn off the video on that camera on your machine.
Okay.
Otherwise, not on your machine.
This machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can hear online quite well.
Okay. All right.
I'll just remove the video. And
See, the audio may not be great.
Okay.
Thanks, Sebastian.
Okay. So to get to my variables list, I go to the variable icon in the when I'm editing a sheet. It will pop up the variables list. The little black scroll means that it's defined through the load script, and when it's not got the black scroll, means it's defined through the user interface. So once I've actually defined these bunch of variables, they're really, really useful to share amongst other apps. So then the question becomes, okay, if I want to share variable definitions, how can I do that? Obviously, you'd only do this when you've got a stable set of variable definitions, so you've used them for quite a while, and the formulas are pretty set. The ways that we've implemented this is either by using an include file or a configuration spreadsheet. Include file, I'm sure all of you use these. You just use the must include and then the pathway to the name of the file, and it will copy in whatever the file contents are. In this case, it's a whole bunch of variables that we set to the standard Qlik sense colors, brown and red, yellows, and so on. Okay. Notice we use a naming convention that when the variable starts with a C, that just means it's a color. Yeah. The second way is we set up a configuration spreadsheet. So this is something that our team maintains. It's just an Excel spreadsheet which has got, what type of variable is it, what's the variable name, the variable definition, and the variable description. You can then add some code into your load script where it will read that spreadsheet, go through a loop, and actually generate a variable inside your app for each line that it's read from that spreadsheet. And in this case, that particular variable name, TCapEx year-to-date amount, it will come in, and obviously, because it's in the load script, it will have the little black scroll to indicate that it's where it was generated. Okay, some gotchas. When we set up these include files, especially for things like colors and so on, and you include them in your app, the list of variables that you get is extremely long.
It's an update. In the UI version, you can search.
Hey, well, in our version, which we soon will be updating, you'll be pleased to hear, Sebastian. There is no search, so you just literally have to keep scrolling down and down and down through the list. So if you are including these variables, please make sure that you are only really including the ones that you want. So neither the load script option nor the include option have populate the description in the variables list. So just make sure that you keep those descriptions updated in the source document. There's no easy way that I know of to do like a where used report to see, okay, where have I used these variables? Where have I included these files? Where have I loaded this configuration spreadsheet? We've actually set up what we call a log parser, and you could actually query the results of the log parser, and that will enable us to go across a whole bunch of apps over time to see where those things are used. But that's something that Western Power has done at our own initiative. It would really be great, talking to Sebastian here, if we can have some sort of where used report to do that sort of impact analysis, because I'm sure we're not the only company that has this as an issue. Okay, short, sharp, swift and sweet. Any questions? Sebastian? Sergey? Not Sebastian, not you, Sergey. Yeah. How do you, what's that?
How did you see the transactions behind this line? Because you said something X $1 million, so it's whatever. What if I say, but it should be more or less? What do you do?
We have a hyperlink to a transaction app that applies a filter that is based on that line item. So the issue that we have is that behind these reports are literally millions and millions and millions of transaction records. If when you click on the link, you want to go to the relevant transactions,
yes,
but you want to apply the filter straight away. And so we've, as part of the URL, it actually applies that filter.
Yep.
Okay.
Chat later.
Okay. Righto. Thank you very much, guys. I will catch you soon.
Thank you. That's good. Yes. Yeah, thank you, Craig. Actually, I was surprised to hear that I'm using long and complex expressions. Usually, I'm proud that I'm using them very simple. But okay, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you. So, yes. Yes, you can. You can. Yep, you can. Sorry, Craig, I answered it instead of you. So let me quickly see what's next. What is our next slide? It is here. So we have another presentation from Boon. Boon, is it going to be short one about this Qlik set analysis or long one?
Maybe we'll push it to the next one. I think I'll take another 10-15 minutes. We're going to the whole, I don't want to be the person stopping everyone from having their beers. So
exactly, good idea. Thank you, Boon. So one thing I wanted to add, our today's session was sponsored by Curious Solutions, so let's thank them. Thank you very much. Any questions from our virtual participants? I stop sharing.
Excellent.
So no questions.
Questions and enjoy your drinks.
Yeah, thank you, Sebastian.
So yeah, just one quick one. You know how someone asked how do I identify, what's the word, bad data?
Okay.
The AI. So you can potentially also, depending on what the problem is, you can run some of the machine learning to highlight the outliers. let's just say you're moving stuff from one spot to another, and usually it's above 2 kilometers, and someone decided to put in 2 meters. So that would come out as an outlier from a statistical perspective, but still you need a human being to sort of go in there and finalize it and sign it off. I wouldn't rely too much on AI or programming languages to do that work, because you're essentially touching production database. Yeah, all good. That's pretty much for me. Alrighty.
Thank you, Boon.
Right.
Thank you, Sebastian. I'm really would like to see you maybe next time with Ben together here in Perth. So you meet again our all local participants. So, and now we are off for the drinks. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, see you.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to join from those who are online, please come. We will be here for another couple of hours. Thank you. Let's finish.